I now give the floor to the Deputy Secretary General of the United Nations, His Excellency Jan Eliasson.
Mr. President, Mr. Mayor, ladies and gentlemen, dear friends, this is a test of my voice. If I fail, I will have a young woman coming up and taking over, symbolically, but perhaps in reality also, you never know. But let me first say how impressed I was by the statement of Federico Mayor. He quoted the Charter, UN Charter, which we should always have close to our heart, and he almost made you sing. We are the world. So I thank you very much for your wonderful contribution, and I know you have to go by the airplane. You are needed everywhere. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
I want to thank all of you for this one great day. I missed great parts of it, but the Secretary General told me that he enjoyed tremendously starting the day with you today. And we are glad that you are spending here the early part of Friday evening, which shows your commitment to peace. I particularly want to thank my friend, I hope I can say so, as President of the General Assembly, a function which I served six years ago, for his great engagement. He's been one of the most active presidents that we have ever seen. He has brought interactive dialogue to the General Assembly. And I know him since 20 years, and I know he's a man committed to peace, development, to human rights, but very much also the commitment to culture as a factor, culture as a factor that brings us together in this world. And I'm sure that he will have very important contributions to make in the future. Thank you very much, Nasser. Looking around this room, I feel nostalgic, remembering my time as President of the General Assembly, working with much of civil society, many friends I met already coming in here. I'm back now since only 2 months, but when I look around this room, you see all the whole picture of how we should establish a culture of peace. Here we have in the room partners, governments, civil society, business, others who have spent years working to promote a culture of peace. Secondly, we have here today heard dialogue. There were statements, but there were also questions and answers, many personal meetings among you, I'm sure. Genuine dialogue creates a culture of peace. Thirdly, international understanding. We live in a world of instant global communications. We need a sense of global citizenship to match. At this point, I want to echo the Secretary General's dismay at the recent brutal violence in Libya and the Middle East. I share his outrage at the hateful film that appears to have sparked the violence. I condemn both the exploitation of freedom of expression to provoke hatred, and at the same time the outburst of blind violence, which together widen the gap between cultures and religions. This vicious circle can only be broken through dialogue, knowledge and mutual understanding. And you in this room will contribute to this, I'm absolutely sure. Ladies and gentlemen, culture and peace are interrelated. I come from the world of diplomacy. I know that diplomats will never succeed if they operate in a cultural vacuum. And the converse is also true. When we appreciate the cultures of people we are trying to help, we are so much more effective. I've seen that in my different mediation roles around the world. Cultural understanding generates peace. This is as true for school children, making friends, for education that is, as it is for mediators, settling conflicts. Education cannot be passive in the face of intolerance, injustice and insecurity. Education is an active, ongoing effort to face tough questions and to search hard for answers. The Secretary General's Education First initiative is about putting peoples in classroom. It's also one of the Millennium Development Goals, as you know, whereas there is actually progress made. But it is more than that. It calls for giving children quality learning, to promote understanding and global citizenship, and to establish a culture of peace. Distinguished participants, I want to talk about something which is very personal to me. 4 days from now, we will observe a solemn anniversary, the tragic death of Secretary General Dag Hammarskjöld in 1961. As you know, he died in a plane crash in Angola while on a mission of peace. He gave his life to the cause of peace. He's always been a role model for me. He embodied the twin concept, and that's why I mention it here to you now, of culture and peace. We cannot separate his diplomatic side from his passion for culture. Dag Hammarskjöld was a towering leader on the global stage, very much, I would say, because he took the time to reflect, to mentally enrich himself, and to understand others. He was known for hosting evenings in New York that brought together artists and writers of his day. One friend whom I actually met told me the story that he went to a dinner to the Secretary General's residence. The entire dinner, they listened in silence to music. It was Bach and Handel. At the end of the evening, Hammarskjöld said, when he said goodbye, he said, "Didn't we have a wonderful evening together?" He was there with music. Culture was giving him all the energy then to conduct his serious work. One late night, he called his aides into his office, and they all expected to hear some bad news about an emergency situation. But he simply said, "I want to go to the meditation room." It was actually, believe it or not, past midnight. At that time, that very special space, which I really recommend you to visit, was under construction. He just felt that there in the middle of the night, he wanted to check the progress, and then he stayed for some time to meditate. At the center of the meditation room is a stone, which Hammarskjöld said is there to remind us of the endurance and faith on which all human endeavor must be based. So let us, in closing, advance with endurance of faith to establish a lasting culture of peace. Without peace, there is no development. And without development, there is no peace. And without respect of human rights and the rule of law, there is neither lasting peace nor sustainable development. So we have to work on all these three pillars at the same time in order to maintain a structure of peace. And let us remember that nobody can do everything. Nobody can do everything. But everybody can do something. And you in this room, you are proving that. Thank you very much.